Good morning. I want to talk to you today about if you only knew. So often in life, we go through challenges, we face disappointments, we see doors close, and we start to wonder, is this all there is? We look at our past mistakes, our current struggles, and we think maybe we've gone as far as we can go. But let me tell you today, if you only knew what God has in store for you, you wouldn't be worried. If you only knew the power that's inside you, you wouldn't settle for less than what you were created for. If you only knew how close you are to your breakthrough, you wouldn't be tempted to give up. If you only knew how much you're loved, you wouldn't waste another moment feeling unworthy, thinking you don't have what it takes. You may have been through disappointment, but if you only knew what God was doing behind the scenes, you'd get your joy back. That closed door, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. That delay, it wasn't denial, it was preparation. That struggle, it's not the end of your story. It's just a chapter, and the next page is filled with favor, opportunity, and restoration. There's greatness inside you. There's favor on your life. There are new levels in your future. Don't let what you see now make you forget what God has promised you. If you only knew how big your destiny is, you'd stop settling for mediocrity. If you only knew how valuable you are, you'd quit believing the lies that say you're not enough. I'm here to tell you today, you're stronger than you think, you're further than you realize, and you're closer than it seems. Get ready, because if you only knew what's coming, you'd be celebrating right now. Your best days are still ahead. There is so much more inside you than you realize. You were created with gifts, talents, dreams, and a divine purpose that is bigger than anything you could ever imagine. But too often we go through life not fully recognizing what we carry. We let doubt, fear, and past disappointments convince us that we are ordinary, that we don't have what it takes, that we're not talented enough, strong enough, or smart enough. But if you only knew the depth of potential that is within you, you would never shrink back in fear again. Too many people live their lives playing small because they don't recognize the greatness inside them. They allow past failures or negative words spoken over them to define who they are. Maybe someone told you that you wouldn't amount to much, that you weren't talented enough, or that you didn't have the right background, the right education, or the right connections. And if you're not careful, you can let those words take root in your heart and shape how you see yourself. But let me remind you today, those voices don't determine your destiny. Your worth doesn't come from what people say about you. It comes from what's already inside you. You are filled with potential, strength, and ability far beyond what you can see. Think about a seed. When you look at a tiny seed, it doesn't look like much. It seems small, insignificant, just a little thing. But inside that seed is a mighty tree. Inside that seed is the potential to grow tall, to spread wide, to produce fruit, and to bring shade to others. Everything that tree will become is already inside the seed. It just needs the right environment to grow. And the same is true for you. Right now, inside you, there are dreams waiting to be birthed, talents waiting to be discovered, and opportunities waiting to unfold. But here's the challenge. Sometimes the greatness inside us doesn't look like greatness at first. It looks like struggle. It looks like uncertainty. It looks like stepping out in faith when we don't have all the answers. It looks like taking risks, making mistakes, learning, growing, and believing in ourselves, even when it feels like nothing is happening. But just because you don't see the fruit yet doesn't mean the seed isn't growing. Just because you haven't stepped into your full potential yet doesn't mean it's not inside you. There are things in you right now that you haven't even tapped into yet. Skills you haven't developed. Ideas you haven't acted on. Strength you haven't had to use yet. You may think you've reached your limit, that you've gone as far as you can go, that you're just getting by. But if you only knew the power, the wisdom, the courage, and the resilience that's inside you, you would rise up with new confidence. You wouldn't settle where you are. You wouldn't let fear keep you from stepping into new opportunities. You wouldn't stay in a place of defeat or discouragement because you'd realize there's more in you than you ever imagined. You weren't created to just survive. You weren't put on this earth to just go through the motions, barely getting by, never stepping into all you were meant to be. No, you were created to thrive, to expand, to grow, to make a difference, to impact the world around you. But the first step to living that kind of life is recognizing what's already in you. Because when you start to see yourself the right way, when you start to believe that you have more inside you than you ever realized, everything changes. You start walking with a new confidence. You stop doubting yourself and start stepping into opportunities that once intimidated you. You stop settling for less than what you were created for, and you start pursuing the dreams and desires that have been in your heart all along. Maybe life has tried to push you down. Maybe you faced disappointments, setbacks, or losses that made you question yourself. Maybe you've made mistakes that made you feel unworthy. But let me remind you today, none of that changes what's inside you. A diamond doesn't lose its value just because it's covered in dirt. A treasure doesn't stop being a treasure just because it's buried underground. And you don't lose your worth, your potential, or your purpose just because life has tried to weigh you down. There is something so unique, so powerful, and so extraordinary about you. No one else in the world has the exact combination of gifts, talents, experiences, and purpose that you have. No one else can do what you were put on this earth to do. That's why it's so important to stop letting fear and doubt hold you back. Stop telling yourself you're not good enough. Stop believing the lie that you don't have what it takes. Instead, start saying, I have more in me than I realize. I have gifts I haven't used yet. I have talents waiting to be developed. I have strength I haven't tapped into. I have a destiny bigger than I can see. Because the truth is, you are capable of more than you think. You are stronger than you know. You are more gifted than you've given yourself credit for. You are filled with potential waiting to be unlocked. And when you start to believe that, when you start to see yourself as someone with incredible value and purpose, you will begin to step into a whole new level of confidence, success, and fulfillment. So don't let the past define you. Don't let fear stop you. Don't let negative voices talk you out of your destiny. There is so much inside you that you haven't even discovered yet. And when you step into it, when you start living with the mindset that there is more in you than you ever imagined, you will see doors open, opportunities arise, and new levels of success and fulfillment unfold before you. Because if you only knew what's inside you, you would never doubt yourself again. There are moments in life when it feels like things aren't working out the way we expected. We face delays, disappointments, and detours that make us question whether we are on the right path. We set goals, work hard, and do our best, but sometimes it seems like nothing is changing. It's easy to get discouraged when you've been believing for something, praying for something, working towards something, and you don't see any progress. But just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it's not ahead. If you could see the full picture, if you knew what was coming, you wouldn't be discouraged in the waiting. If you knew the doors that are going to open, the opportunities that are being lined up, the favor that is coming your way, you would stay in faith. Right now, you may only see the challenges, the struggles, and the delays, but that doesn't mean things aren't shifting behind the scenes. Sometimes what looks like a setback is actually a setup for something greater. It's easy to get frustrated when things don't happen on our timetable. We think, I should be further along. I should have had that promotion by now. I should have met the right person. I should have seen my dreams come to pass. But just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Just because the door hasn't opened doesn't mean it's not in your future. There are things ahead of you that you can't see right now, but they are already in motion. It's like driving through a foggy road. You may not be able to see more than a few feet in front of you, but that doesn't mean the road isn't there. Just because you can't see the destination doesn't mean it's not waiting for you. The key is to keep moving forward, even when you can't see clearly, even when you don't understand why things are taking so long, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Because what's ahead is greater than what's behind. You may have faced disappointments in the past, but that doesn't mean your future will be filled with disappointments. You may have had doors close on you, but that doesn't mean the right doors won't open at the right time. If you knew what was ahead, you wouldn't waste time worrying. You wouldn't lose sleep over that situation. You wouldn't let frustration steal your joy, because you would know that everything is falling into place exactly as it's meant to. Sometimes we pray for something and we don't get it. We think if only that had worked out, everything would have been perfect. But what we don't realize is that sometimes the things we thought we needed weren't the best for us. That job that didn't work out, that relationship that ended, that opportunity that passed you by, it wasn't a mistake. It was part of the plan. If you only knew what was ahead, you'd understand that what you lost is nothing compared to what's coming. Think about a child who is upset because they can't have a small toy they wanted. They don't realize that their parents have something much bigger and better planned for them. In the same way, there are things you've been hoping for, things you've been disappointed about, but what's ahead is greater than what you're leaving behind. The reason it didn't happen your way is because there's something better in store. Too often, we settle for less than what we were created for because we don't see what's ahead. We think this is as good as it gets. I'll never get a better opportunity. I'll never meet someone else. I'll never reach that next level. But if you only knew what was coming, you wouldn't settle. You wouldn't accept less than what you deserve. You would keep believing, keep expecting, and keep preparing for what's ahead. You may be in a difficult season right now, but it's not the end of your story. What's ahead is full of restoration, healing, breakthroughs, and favor. What's ahead is greater joy, greater peace, and greater fulfillment than you've ever known. If you could see what's coming, you would be excited about your future instead of discouraged by your present. This is why it's so important to trust the timing of your life. Just because you don't see progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Just because you don't have all the answers doesn't mean things aren't lining up perfectly for you. When a baby is growing in the womb, the mother can't see the development happening day by day. But just because she can't see it doesn't mean the baby isn't growing. In the same way, there are things in your future that are developing, things that are forming, things that are coming together, even though you can't see them yet. That's why it's so important not to give up too soon. Don't stop believing because it's taking longer than you expected. Don't walk away from what you're believing for just because it hasn't shown up yet. There are things ahead that are bigger than you can imagine. There are doors that are going to open suddenly, things that are going to shift in your favor, opportunities that are going to present themselves when you least expect it. If you knew what was ahead, you wouldn't stress about that situation at work. You wouldn't lose sleep over that financial problem. You wouldn't let that disappointment weigh you down because you would know that everything is working together for your good. So don't give up in the waiting. Don't settle where you are. Don't believe the lie that nothing is happening. If you could see what's ahead, you would wake up every day with expectancy. You would stop worrying and start rejoicing. You would realize that the best is yet to come. There are moments in life when we feel like we're stuck, like nothing is changing, and like the promises we've been holding on to are never going to come to pass. We've prayed. We've worked, we've believed, but everything around us seems the same. Maybe you've been waiting for a breakthrough in your career, a shift in your finances, a healing in your body, or restoration in your relationships, and it feels like nothing is happening. It's easy to grow discouraged when you've been faithful, but you don't see the results. You start to wonder, is it ever going to happen? Am I wasting my time? Should I just accept that this is the way things are? But what you don't realize is that you are closer than you think. Just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it's not right around the corner. Sometimes the answer is just one more step away. The breakthrough is just beyond the place where most people give up. Too often we stop short of what's meant for us because we let discouragement, doubt, and frustration convince us that nothing is changing. We focus on what we can see instead of remembering that there are things happening behind the scenes that we don't yet understand. Think about digging for treasure. If you were digging and digging, but you hadn't struck gold yet, you might start to think, there's nothing there. But what if you were only one more inch away? What if you stopped just before you reached what you were looking for? That's how life works. Most people give up when things get tough, when they don't see progress, when it feels like nothing is working. But what they don't realize is that they were so close. If they had just pushed a little further, if they had just held on a little longer, if they had just taken one more step, they would have stepped into everything they had been believing for. Right now, you may be feeling like you've been working hard and getting nowhere. You've been doing the right thing, showing up, putting in effort, staying faithful, but you don't see the results. You might be tempted to quit. You might think that if it were going to happen, it would have happened by now. But what if you are closer than you realize? What if this is not the time to give up, but the time to dig in even deeper? There are so many people who stopped too soon. They had a dream, they had a vision, they had a goal, but because they didn't see progress fast enough, they let it go. They talked themselves out of it. They listened to the negative voices that said, it's never going to happen for you. They walked away not knowing that what they had been waiting for was right around the corner. It's easy to get weary in the waiting. It's easy to feel like nothing is happening. But just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it's not in motion. There are things shifting in your favor that you can't even see. There are doors about to open, opportunities about to present themselves, and breakthroughs closer than you realize. You may not see the full picture right now, but if you knew how close you were, you wouldn't even consider giving up. Think about a pregnant woman in her 9th month. She's been waiting, enduring discomfort, pushing through the difficult moments, and she's tired. It would be ridiculous for her to give up when she's so close to delivery. She may not see the baby yet, but she knows it's coming. She may not feel ready, but she knows she's right on the edge of something life-changing. And just like that, you may be carrying something inside of you that is about to be birthed. You may feel weary, but this is not the time to walk away. This is the time to prepare for what's ahead. The process of waiting is never easy, but it's always worth it. The people who see their dreams come to pass, who reach their full potential, who live a fulfilled life, are the ones who didn't quit when it got tough. They are the ones who kept showing up when they didn't feel like it. They are the ones who kept believing even when nothing seemed to be changing. They are the ones who understood that just because they couldn't see it didn't mean it wasn't happening. The temptation to quit always comes the strongest right before the breakthrough. That's when the enemy whispers, it's never going to happen. That's when fear tells you you're wasting your time. That's when doubt says, maybe this isn't meant for you. But if you could see what was just ahead, you wouldn't listen to those voices. You would shake off discouragement, silence the doubts, and keep pressing forward. When a seed is planted in the ground, it spends weeks or even months buried beneath the surface before you ever see any growth. If you didn't know better, you might think nothing is happening. You might think the seed is dead, that it was a waste of time. But under the soil, things are happening. Roots are growing, foundations are forming, and strength is being built. And when the time is right, that seed will break through the surface and begin to grow. That's where you are right now. You may not see the full picture yet, but something is happening beneath the surface. Growth is taking place. Preparation is happening. What you've been believing for is getting ready to come to pass. You are closer than you think. So don't let what you see in the natural talk you out of what's happening in the spiritual. Don't let delays, disappointments, or slow progress convince you that it's not going to happen. You are closer than you realize. The finish line is just ahead. The door you've been waiting for is about to open. The opportunity you've been praying for is on its way. This is not the time to get discouraged. This is not the time to quit. This is the time to press forward with more determination than ever. Because if you knew how close you were, you wouldn't be discouraged. You would be celebrating. You wouldn't be thinking about giving up. You would be preparing for what's coming. What's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you. What's in your future is bigger than what's in your past. So keep going, keep believing, keep expecting, because you are closer than you think. There are times in life when we face challenges that seem too big, obstacles that feel overwhelming, and situations that make us question whether we have what it takes. We look at what's ahead and it seems impossible. We think about the responsibilities, the opportunities, the pressures, and we start to wonder if we are capable. We think, I don't know if I can handle this. I don't know if I'm strong enough, smart enough, or prepared enough. But what you don't realize is that everything you need is already inside you. You have more strength than you know. You have more resilience, more wisdom, and more ability than you've given yourself credit for. You weren't placed in this moment by accident. The challenges in front of you aren't meant to defeat you. They're meant to reveal what's already inside you. So often we underestimate ourselves. We assume that other people have what it takes, but that we somehow don't measure up. We look at successful people, confident people, people who seem to have it all together, and we think they must have something special that we don't. But the truth is, the difference between those who step into their destiny and those who stay stuck is not talent, background, or intelligence. It's belief. It's recognizing that what's needed is already inside you. Think about an eagle. From the time it's born, everything it needs to soar is already inside of it. The wings are there, the instincts are there, the strength is there. But for a while, the eagle doesn't know what's inside it. It stays in the nest, waiting, unsure. And then one day the time comes when it has to stretch its wings, take a leap, and trust that it was born to fly. In that moment, the eagle doesn't suddenly develop new abilities. It simply discovers what was always there. In the same way, you have everything inside you to handle what's ahead. The strength, the courage, the wisdom, the perseverance. It's already in you. But you may not have discovered it yet because you haven't been in a situation that required you to use it. Sometimes life puts us in positions where we feel unprepared, but the truth is we're more prepared than we realize. We just haven't had to access that part of ourselves yet. It's like lifting weights. If you've never had to lift something heavy, you might assume you're not strong enough. But when the moment comes, when you have no choice but to push through, you realize that the strength was in you all along. Think about the challenges you've already faced in your life. There were times when you didn't think you'd make it, but you did. There were situations that seemed impossible, but you found a way through. There were seasons when you felt weak, but looking back, you realize how strong you actually were. That same strength, that same resilience is in you now. And whatever comes your way, you have what it takes to handle it. The problem is, we don't always see ourselves the right way. We see our limitations instead of our potential. We focus on what we don't know instead of what we do know. We compare ourselves to others and assume that we are lacking. But what if you could see yourself the way you truly are? What if you could recognize that you already have the tools, the gifts, the talents, and the wisdom to step into your next level? There are people who have stepped into positions of leadership, who have started businesses, who have pursued their dreams, not because they had all the answers, but because they decided to believe in what was already inside them. They faced the same fears, the same doubts, the same insecurities, but they chose to trust that they had what it takes. And because they believed, they discovered abilities they never knew they had. You may not feel ready for the next season of your life, but you don't have to feel ready to be ready. You don't have to have all the answers to take the next step. You don't have to see the full picture to move forward. What you need is already in you. It's easy to think that if we just had more resources, more connections, more confidence, then we could step into what we're meant to do. But the truth is, you don't need more. You just need to tap into what's already inside you. You already have the ideas, the creativity, the determination, and the perseverance. You already have the skills, the insight, and the strength to overcome any challenge that comes your way. Think about a diamond. When it's first found, it looks like an ordinary rock. It's covered in dirt, rough around the edges, unpolished. But inside that rock is something of immense value. The diamond doesn't need anything added to it. It just needs to be refined. It needs to be shaped, cut, and polished so that its true brilliance can shine through. That's exactly how it is with you. You don't need to become something different. You just need to uncover what's already inside you. The strength, the wisdom, the ability, it's already there. But sometimes life's challenges are what reveal it. The struggles, the obstacles, the difficult moments, they're not there to break you. They're there to refine you, to polish you, to bring out the best in you. So don't doubt yourself. Don't talk yourself out of your dreams. Don't believe the lie that you're not capable. If you could see yourself the way you truly are, you would never question whether you have what it takes. You would stand up tall or walk with confidence and face every challenge knowing that you already have the strength to overcome it. Right now, you may be facing something that feels bigger than you. You may be stepping into new territory, starting something unfamiliar, or dealing with a challenge you've never faced before. But instead of thinking, I don't know if I can handle this, start declaring, I have everything I need. The strength is already in me. The wisdom is already in me. The ability is already in me. I was created for this moment, and I am ready. Because the truth is, you were made for more than just getting by. You were created to thrive, to overcome, to step into your destiny with confidence. And when you stop looking at what you think you lack and start recognizing what's already inside you, you will discover a strength, a power, and a greatness that you never knew you had. Everything you need is already in you. You just have to believe it. Life has a way of convincing us that we are limited. We face setbacks, disappointments, and obstacles, and over time, we start to believe that we have reached our limit, that we've gone as far as we can go. We see others rising higher, accomplishing great things, stepping into new opportunities, and we think, maybe that's for them, but not for me. We start to settle where we are, thinking this is all there is. But what if you've barely scratched the surface of what's possible for you? What if there is more in you than you've ever imagined? What if the only thing holding you back isn't a lack of talent, resources, or opportunities, but a limited perspective? Too often we accept a version of our lives that is smaller than what was intended for us. We assume that because we haven't seen certain things happen yet, they never will. But what if you could see the full picture? What if you knew just how much potential was still inside of you? There is more in you than you realize. There are gifts you haven't tapped into, talents you haven't developed, strength you haven't discovered. The fact that you're still here, still breathing, still moving forward is proof that your best days are not behind you, they are ahead of you. No matter what you've accomplished so far, there is still more for you. No matter how many setbacks you've faced, there is still more ahead. Think about a tree. When it first starts growing, it may not seem like much, just a small plant, barely noticeable. But inside that tiny seed was always the potential to become something much greater. Over time, as it receives the right nourishment, as it faces the wind and the storms, it grows into something strong, something powerful, something that provides shade, fruit, and life to others. The tree didn't start that way, it grew into it. And in the same way, you are still growing into the fullness of who you are meant to be. Just because you haven't seen the full extent of your potential yet, doesn't mean it's not there. The challenge is that most people never push past their comfort zone long enough to discover what's truly inside of them. We get comfortable in what we know, in what feels safe, in what's familiar, and we stop stretching ourselves. But growth doesn't happen in comfort. Growth happens when we push beyond what we think we can do, when we step into the unknown, when we take risks, when we refuse to settle. Think about a butterfly. Before it can fly, it has to go through a transformation. Inside the cocoon, it is developing wings, growing strength, preparing for something greater. If it were to break free too soon, it wouldn't be strong enough to fly. But when the time is right, when it has fully developed, it emerges, not as the same creature it once was, but as something entirely new. In the same way, there are things developing inside of you right now that you may not even be aware of. You are growing in ways you can't see. You are becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable. But here's the key. You have to believe there's more in you before you'll ever see it. If you go through life convinced that you've reached your limit, that you've done all you can do, that nothing new is coming, then you'll never step into the fullness of your potential. Your belief is what unlocks the next level. If you believe you're stuck, you'll stay stuck. But if you believe that there is more, that you have more to give, more to become, more to achieve, then you will start to move toward it. The difference between those who accomplish great things and those who stay the same isn't talent or luck, it's a mindset. It's a willingness to keep growing, to keep learning, to keep pushing beyond what's comfortable. It's refusing to accept mediocrity when greatness is still inside you. Sometimes we disqualify ourselves. We think, I'm too old. I've made too many mistakes. I missed my opportunity. But that's not true. As long as you are still here, as long as you are still breathing, there is more in you. It's never too late to start, never too late to grow, never too late to step into something greater. Some of the most successful people in history didn't discover their true potential until later in life. They didn't let their past dictate their future. They believed there was still more ahead, and because they believed it, they walked into it. You may not see the full picture of your life yet. You may not understand why certain things have happened the way they have, but what if everything you've been through has been preparing you for what's next? What if the challenges, the setbacks, the detours were all part of the process to bring you to a greater place? Don't settle for less than what was meant for you. Don't let fear, doubt, or past experiences convince you that this is all there is. You were made for more. There are new opportunities, new relationships, new blessings, new levels of success waiting for you, but you have to step into them. If you knew how much potential was inside you, you wouldn't hesitate. You wouldn't talk yourself out of trying new things. You wouldn't let fear stop you. You would wake up every day with excitement, knowing that there is still more ahead. So don't play small. Don't let life convince you that you've reached your peak. Keep stretching, keep growing, keep believing, because the truth is, you haven't seen the best of what's in you yet. There is more inside you than you have ever imagined. More strength, more courage, more wisdom, more success, more joy. And when you choose to believe that, when you choose to step into it, you will see your life transform in ways you never thought possible. You are not finished. Your story is still being written. Your best days are still ahead. There is more in you, and it's time to discover it. Life has a way of making us feel like we're alone, like no one sees the struggles we face, the battles we fight, the silent prayers we whisper when no one is around. We walk through seasons where it seems like nothing is changing, nothing is improving, and we wonder if we've been forgotten. We look at others and see them thriving, succeeding, and stepping into new opportunities while we're still waiting for our moment, still hoping for our breakthrough. But what if you knew that you were never alone? What if you understood that even when you don't see anything happening, something is happening? Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not in motion. Just because you don't feel it doesn't mean change isn't taking place. There are things working behind the scenes that you can't yet see. Think about the roots of a tree. Before you ever see it growing above the ground, something is happening beneath the surface. The roots are expanding, strengthening, preparing to support something greater. If you were to judge the tree by what you see in the beginning, you might assume that nothing is happening. But the reality is the most important work is happening underground where no one can see it. In the same way, there are things developing in your life that you may not be able to see yet. You may not see the opportunity that's coming, the connection that's about to be made, the door that's about to open. But just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not already in motion. We often get discouraged because we base our faith on what we can see. If things look good, we feel good. If things look bad, we assume nothing is happening. But the truth is, some of the greatest transformations happen in the unseen. When a caterpillar is inside a cocoon, it looks like nothing is happening. From the outside, it seems like everything is still, like nothing is changing. But inside, a radical transformation is taking place. And when the time is right, what was hidden becomes visible, and what seemed ordinary becomes extraordinary. You may be in a season where it feels like nothing is moving, nothing is shifting. But what if you could see what was happening behind? If you only knew what was inside you, you would never doubt yourself again. If you only knew how strong you truly are, you would stop letting fear hold you back. If you only knew what was being prepared for you, you wouldn't waste another moment worrying. If you only knew how much potential, how much greatness, how much purpose was placed within you, you would step forward with confidence, with boldness, with an unshakable belief that your best days are still ahead. Too often we let our doubts, our past experiences, and our circumstances define what we believe is possible. We assume that because we haven't seen it yet, it's not coming. We think that because we don't feel strong, we're not capable. But the truth is, everything you need is already inside you. The strength, the wisdom, the resilience, the creativity, it's all there, waiting to be unlocked. You were not created to live a small, limited life. You were meant to soar, to grow, to overcome, and to step into something greater than you've ever imagined. So don't settle. Don't let fear talk you out of your destiny. Don't let doubt convince you that you're not enough. You have been prepared for this moment. Every challenge, every setback, every disappointment has only been shaping you, refining you, preparing you for something bigger. The things you've been waiting for, the dreams you've been holding on to, the breakthroughs you've been praying for, they are closer than you think. If you could see the full picture, you would walk with confidence. You would rise up each day with a new sense of purpose, knowing that something amazing is ahead. You wouldn't be discouraged by delays or setbacks because you would understand that everything is happening in perfect timing. You wouldn't compare yourself to others because you would realize that your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. It's time to believe again. It's time to step out of doubt and into faith. It's time to stop questioning whether you're good enough, smart enough, or strong enough, and start trusting that you were created for something incredible. You have more in you than you realize. You are capable of more than you have imagined. And if you only knew what was ahead, if you only knew how much is being prepared for you, if you only knew what's about to unfold, you would stop doubting, stop hesitating, and step forward with boldness. This is your time. Walk into it with confidence. Because if you only knew what's inside you and what's ahead of you, you wouldn't hold back for another second.